Oh, I thought that was funny.
You ready? I call to order the special City Council meeting of December 23rd, 2015. The first item will be the Pledge of Allegiance, and it will be led tonight by David Naylor.
Audience, please rise. Please repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Okay, I move that we suspend the rules and allow a song sung by Cora Stone. What child is this?
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Mayor Rolfe and a second by Councilmember Haga. Discussion to the motion? Yes.
Just a clarification, Mayor, it was just to suspend the rule to allow the presentation, is that what this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect.
Let's vote.
Councilmember Hanson,
Yes.
Mayor Rolfe,
Yes.
Councilmember Southworth,
Aye.
Councilmember McConaughey, Councilmember Haga,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Rice.
Aye.
The vote passes 7 in favor.
Cora, the only reason I had that vote is because it wasn't listed on the agenda, so I had to suspend the rules. Please, we're so thankful you came tonight. Thanks for coming.
What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch are keeping? This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him, Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. So bring him incense, gold, and myrrh. Come, peasant king, to own him. The King of kings salvation brings. Let loving hearts enthrone him. This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard and angels sing. This is Christ the King, the babe, the Son of Mary.
Thank you very much, Cora. It'd be wonderful to have talent like that. I wish there were 200 people here to see that. Thank you very much. Awesome job. Business item 3A, discussion and possible action regarding Resolution 15-230, authorizing the mayor to execute a settlement agreement with Jordan Hills Villages. Mark.
I think the council's been aware of this lingering court case for at least 5, close to 6 years. We do have a settlement in the The plaintiff in the case has already signed the agreement, and it's just up to the council now to sign and agree, and this then will be over.
Council members? Councilmember Southwood.
Thank you. I move to adopt resolution 15-230.
Second. We have a motion by Councilmember Southworth and a second by Mayor Rowland. Discussion to the motion. Seeing none, let's vote.
Councilmember Rice. Aye. Councilmember Southworth.
Aye.
Mayor Rawl.
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols.
No.
Councilmember Hanson.
Yes.
Councilmember Haga.
Yes.
Councilmember McConaughey.
No.
Vote passes 5-2 in favor.
Business item 3B, discussion and possible action regarding resolution 15-231, authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Black & McDonald for the services related to the change-out of the old streetlight fixtures with new LED fixtures in amount not to exceed $336,910.50. Wendell.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Before I begin that discussion, I just wanted to give you an update on a trip that I took on Monday to try to move the project forward. The streetlights that we're looking at replacing are divided into two different types. There's arterial and collector streets, which are one type. They're manufactured by Leotech, and there's a second group, about 3,500 of them. There's about 1,000 of the others, about 3,500 of the Sternbergs, the residential streetlights. So I took a trip to the Leotech plant down in San Jose, and they knew I was coming. They sent several sales representatives with me from here. They also had the Western Regional Manager fly in from Seattle, and they had the general manager there, plus they had all their staff that could help listen to our concerns and come up with some solutions for us. Took a tour of their facility. The issue that they have has to do with the fact that some of the products are manufactured in San Jose, but the majority of them are manufactured in Taiwan. And so they ship things over to Taiwan, they manufacture things there, and then they ship the parts back to San Jose, they assemble them there. So the problem that we have is the color. Our street light poles are black, and we have ordered black fixtures. And the problem that we have is that they've run out of, they don't keep a lot of things on stock. They manufacture them as they get the orders. And so what they're doing right now is trying to find out if they can speed up that process. I received an email later this afternoon that it's incomplete at this point. I hope to have something more that I can share with you next week. But I'll probably be taking a trip to the Sternberg plant as well and trying to move that along. So I just want to let you know that we were doing that. As far as this contract goes, we're very aware that the council want to move this project along. We have 2 crews, city crews, that we are going to be putting toward this, 2 electrical crews. But we also wanted to make sure that we had enough capacity to install more lights if we could get the lights in bigger quantities. And so what we did was we went out with a request for proposals, and from that we selected a contractor. We went through our normal process, which is preparing a request for proposals. That proposal is then received by the city clerk's office. They give us copies of what they've received. The purchasing agent takes those and reads them out loud, and then they're given to the project manager to go through. In this case, and in all cases basically, We form a committee. In this case, we had 4 people that were on the committee to evaluate the 2 contractors that we received. And they came up with a summary. They independently score each of the contractors, and then there's a summary sheet put together that's on page 10 of your council packet. And based upon that, the Black & McDonald company was selected as the company to award the contract to. And that's what we're proposing to you this evening. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Councilmember Hanson?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Wendell, I just wondered, as we go down Redwood Road, I see there's only lights on the west side of Redwood Road. The east side does not have street lights. Will we be placing street lights along the east side of Redwood Road also?
Not as part of this program. We do have money that we want to put into the budget for next year, where we'll go into areas, dark areas, or areas where we need additional lighting, and we would do that as part of that program.
Yes, because once you leave South Jordan, it's like going from day to night onto Redwood Road, and that's such a busy street. So I wondered if we were going to do them on the east side also.
Well, that's one of the things that we struggled with as we looked at the existing lighting, was to make sure that we selected fixtures that put out enough light to be able to provide the kind of lighting that we actually needed. We didn't look at dark areas. We will, though.
Thank you.
Councilmember Haga?
Thanks, Mayor. Wendell, and I think I know the answer, but I was reading the RFPs, and we have a total of 4,673, but Rocky Mountain says we have 52. Are the other lights going to be done by our crew, our staff?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to put them all together, basically, all the different crews, and so we'll cover them either way, but we are going to put our crews into the mix. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
We got information back from Rocky Mountain Power that there was 5,200. I'm rounding it up, by the way. 5,200 street lights, and the RFP just says 4,673.
But he said he'll cover it either way. Our crews are going to be in the mix, so yes.
Oh,
he'll get covered.
Yeah, we will
Did
cover
answer
them all.
my question. Thank you, Mayor.
Other questions for Wendell? A motion would be in order.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 15231.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hanson and a second by Councilmember Haga. Discussion to the motion. Seeing none, let's vote.
Councilmember Haga?
Yes.
Councilmember Rice?
Aye.
Councilmember McConaughey? Councilmember Southworth?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Mayor Raw?
Yes.
Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
The vote passes 7 in favor.
Business item 3C, reconsideration of resolution 15-217, authorizing implementation of the proposed utility fee, sustainable funding for the Parks and Recreation fee for perpetual maintenance of the parks, trails, and open space, and recreation amenities. Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. This should be fairly brief. It's a pretty simple reasoning. Last council meeting, we voted on the issue, and 2 members of the council left after the vote, and we were left at the end of the meeting with what I deemed, at least that I thought, at the point you just remember, a motion on the table. We did vote on the motion. I didn't feel comfortable because 2 members who voted on it previously were not present. Then we did receive an email that was sent from you, Mayor Rolfe, this week that clarified from legal that there was not a motion. So I just thought it was all in fairness that we bring it back and present this is a motion for the full body of the council who voted on the issue. And with that, I move that we reconsider Resolution 15-217.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Nichols and a second by Councilmember Rice. Discussion to the motion. Councilmember Hagan.
So our council rules are clear that reconsiderations can be taken only on regular scheduled meetings. If you notice, this is a special city council meeting, and hence why I did a reconsideration for the 13th, because, you know, this meeting wasn't scheduled and it hasn't been, I mean, we don't have residents out there, obviously, so to vote on something tonight on a special meeting, I think is out of order. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember O'Connor.
Thank you, Mayor. I would offer a substitute motion that we table this until the meeting on the 13th, because at that point we'll have a couple new members of the council, and I think it would be appropriate if there's going to be some reconsideration for them to be involved. So while I support the idea of the reconsideration, I don't think it should happen tonight. I think it should happen on the 13th. And similar to what we've done in the past, we've had the vote as to whether or not we should reconsider on the same meeting where that reconsideration was actually held. And I would like to see that we continue with that format. So that makes it a really, really long-winded substitute motion, so to simplify. I would offer the substitute motion that we table this reconsideration until the January 13th council meeting.
Second. We have a motion by Councilmember McConaughey and a second by Mayor Rawl. Discussion to the motion. Councilmember Southwood.
No, thanks. No.
Councilmember Hagan.
Yeah, Mayor. And just for the record, I did communicate with the chair or our mayor concerning why I had to leave last council meeting. It was a once-in-a-lifetime family event for me. I really stretched the time. I should have left earlier. But I still believe my reconsideration that I have is still valid based on last council meeting. And, you know, that's not that I'm not going to support this, but I don't think that we have to do another reconsideration when we already have it set for the 13th based on my reconsideration. I voted for the item. I reconsidered it based on the same factors that Councilmember McConaughey says, and that is, you know, we do have 2 council members elect, and they need to sound off on raising taxes on our residents. I know I use the word taxes, it's a fee, but it's the same difference from my perspective. So I would just like to hear from those that were elected by, one of them will be my district representative, and I haven't even talked to him about this. I'd like to hear what he has to say about it once he's sworn in. So I still believe my reconsideration still stands, and I'd like a legal opinion from the city attorney.
Councilmember Southwood.
Thank you, Mayor. So if I get this correctly, we'll have a reconsideration of the item by Councilmember McConaughey, and also a reconsideration of the same item by Councilmember Hagan, all on the same agenda? Or is this different? Well,
No, he's, Councilmember, if I understand it right, Councilmember McConaughey has tabled the item to even be heard until the 13th of January. Is that accurate?
That's what I want.
okay, so a reconsideration of this item by Councilmember Nichols, and a reconsideration of this item by Councilmember Hagan all on the same night? Is that what you're suggesting?
They're both the same item, so it would just be one item on the 13th would be my expectation.
Which one would it be?
Are they not both the same to
Do you want the
reconsider?
one from Councilmember Nichols or the one from Councilmember Haga?
Either way, the name, I think, is irrelevant. If there are multiple people on the council who want to hear something, I would just say, let's take off the name and say city council.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think you just made my point. Your motion to put Councilmember Nichols' item on the 13th is very redundant and probably unnecessary, and I suggest maybe you pull that motion. I know possibly what you're trying to do, but it creates a lot of redundancy and probably a waste of time. If you want that one on the 13th, then maybe pull your motion, see where this one goes, and then go from there.
Just a clarification, as does the reconsideration tonight waste time, and it's already prepared. So, Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to express an objection to, or actually both, that didn't come out right, just express that I would not be voting for this motion based on the fact that the motion is based on hearing the opinions of two council members who are coming, which I do value, and they both express their opinion. So the only reason to table this is to have them vote on the issue, which is the real reason behind tabling it, not hearing their opinions, because we've heard their opinions. And furthermore, by delaying it, what we're doing is negating the vote of two members of a current acting city council who've made their decision. So I'll be voting no on this motion.
I'd just like to comment that no motion subjects a future council, whether it passes or fails, subjects future council to that particular motion in the future. Let's vote. This is the vote for the tabling
Yeah, tabling.
item 3C.
Councilmember McConaughey?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanson?
No.
Councilmember Haga?
No.
Mayor Robb?
Yes.
Councilmember Southworth?
No.
Councilmember Rice?
No.
Councilmember Nichols?
No.
The vote fails 2-5.
Mayor?
He had his light on first.
Oh, actually, my light was on well before.
Councilmember Haga had his light on first,
No,
and
he
he will
did
be
not.
heard.
He did not. I just watched him turn it on.
You're out of order.
Whatever. I just watched him turn it on.
Point of order.
Point all you want. I watched him turn it on.
Are you going to be silent?
You want to recognize
Councilmember
it?
Haga.
I'd like to make a substitute motion, the same motion I made last council meeting.
Point of order, Mayor, if you can't enforce the rules correctly and equally, maybe you
Point
shouldn't
of
chair the
order.
meeting.
He has the floor. I gave him the floor. He has the floor.
That we allocate $595,000 to the Parks Department through the general fund, and that we utilize the fleet fund to purchase the equipment required by the Parks Department for 2016.
The motion will die for lack of second. Councilmember Southworth.
Thank you, Mayor. I call the question.
Question has been called. I need a second.
Second.
The question has been called by Councilmember Southworth, and we have a second by Councilmember Rice. Let's vote. No.
Voting on calling the question, correct?
Yeah, we're just voting on call the question.
Mayor Robb?
No.
Councilmember Haga?
No.
Councilmember Rice?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
No.
Councilmember McConaughey?
No.
Councilmember Hanson?
No.
Councilmember Southworth?
Excuse me, aye.
Vote fails 2-5.
Okay, the question has not been called, so there's open debate on the motion on the floor. Do you mind reading the motion on the floor again?
Councilmember Nichols moved to reconsider Resolution 15-217. Was that it?
No.
Yes,
No. Yeah, that was it.
that was it.
And it was seconded by Councilmember Rice.
Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. appreciate the floor. I just wanted to restate something and just quote our council rules because it was incorrectly stated that it had to happen on a regular council meeting. Quoting our rules. Requests will be considered by majority vote if necessary, if orally made. A motion for reconsideration must be made by a member of the prevailing majority when the previous vote was taken. And within, this is the key statement, within 2 regular meetings. And there's some more that comes beyond that. It's not on a regular meeting, but within 2 regular meetings. Just wanted to make that clarification. It was an incorrect statement, and this would be this would be in order to reconsider this item tonight. Councilmember Hagan.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to, since we're quoting council rules and basically they're the way that we govern ourselves up here, and I think we need a legal opinion. Sorry, Darian.
Under the council rules, the motion for reconsideration has to occur within 2 regularly scheduled meetings, but it doesn't have to occur at a regularly scheduled meeting.
So, but from my perspective, as far as what happened last council meeting, is my reconsideration still valid for the 13th of January?
There was no motion made for reconsideration at the last meeting. It was just a request for an item to be placed on the agenda. If the motion for reconsideration passes or fails today, that motion cannot be reconsidered at a future meeting. So a motion for reconsideration cannot be reconsidered.
Well, I guess, from, the meeting we had this week, in between last council meeting and that, you changed your opinion? Because you told me and the mayor that, I think the mayor sent out an email that my reconsideration was valid for January 13th, based on legal advice.
If I understood correctly, the request last week was to place an item on the agenda, and there was no motion for reconsideration. So the reason why we were discussing it was in order to determine whether the motion to reconsider had failed. And the determination was that the motion to reconsider had not yet been made. I believe that any item can be placed on an agenda by a council member. I don't believe that there's a restriction or prohibition from placing a new item on an agenda. I don't think it has to be characterized as a reconsideration just because it's a similar or the same topic.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm opposed to the reconsideration at this time for a couple reasons. Number one, I think it would be more appropriate to wait until Councilmember Haga had originally requested and stated his intent to put it on the January 13th meeting. Had he not made that request in a public forum, I don't think this item would be up for consideration today. I think the purpose of this being placed today is to prevent us from having that conversation with the new council. And I think that that just doesn't sit right. It feels like instead of trying to come to a consensus through debate and conversation, it's trying to use procedural gamesmanship to lock in the actions and try to commit a future council. And that just doesn't sit well. I'd like to go back to the point where we could just talk and discuss and then take a vote, and if it passes, it passes. If it fails, it fails, and then we move forward. I really hate to see our last meeting as a body dive to what to me feels like a new depth, where I'd like to go out on a friendly, amicable note. And I don't feel like this is getting us that direction. This doesn't feel right in any respect. Councilmember Hagan was the first one to make the request for the reconsideration. He asked for it to be on the 13th of January, and I would like to stick with that out of respect for him and for the new council members. I realize that those who may not be on the council might like an opportunity to make it stick and solidify it, but the rules and procedures we have are to help us guide our conversation and our dialogue and civilly engage each other. They're not meant for what they seem to be used for today, and that's why I would speak against this motion at this time. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I apologize for trying to take the floor again. I thank you for the time. This is, based on the last statement that was made, it would appear that I'm trying to supplant something, but rather I'm trying to correct the council in the way we're applying this procedure. Reconsideration is not, nor ever has been, a stalling tactic. That is not the intent. And the intent that was portrayed was to stall this to January. That being said, listen carefully to what I just read. It says, a motion for reconsideration must be made, number one, by a member of the prevailing majority when the previous vote was taken, on the same day. And number two, within 2 regular meetings following the previous council vote. What that says is a motion should have been made last meeting by the prevailing member of the vote. And we learn these rules as we go along. We're stumbling through it. We've learned a lot of things over the last 12 months. We've procedurally done a few things slightly incorrect in the past, and we learn each time. And this is one where we're not doing it correctly again, and I'm trying to bring it to foot. And what I want you all to see is the fact that I wanted to bring this up because there wasn't a vote last made, and I believe Councilmember Haga had the intent of having that vote made in the last meeting. And our rules state, number one, that we made by a member of the prevailing majority, which is the case. And it is supposed to be on the date the previous vote was taken. This vote should have taken place last meeting. And I feel it's unfair that 2 members of this council body left the meeting at that time, were not allowed to participate, and thankfully the attorney said, yeah, there wasn't a motion, so they negated that. So technically we have 2 options, either no reconsideration at all, because we didn't follow the council rule and have a vote that night, or we allow ourselves the opportunity to vote on it tonight. Period.
Councilmember McConaughey.
Thank you, Mayor. And Councilmember Nichols, I appreciate the comments you made. I do have a differing opinion of one item that you said, where it says the motion for reconsideration must be made by a member of the prevailing majority when the previous vote was taken. I read that section, when the previous vote was taken, not to mean the motion for reconsideration has to be made at the time. Rather, they had to be a member of the majority of that vote when that vote was taken. So that's how I read that. So I guess, given that different perspective, I would turn to legal for clarification as to which interpretation is most accurate.
City Attorney.
I believe that the vote needs to be taken within 2 regular business meetings and the motion made within 2 scheduled meetings. And I believe that the 2 meetings is the time limit for when the motion can be brought. It accommodates being able to bring it back at a later meeting if you don't do it at the same time under the city rules.
So my understanding is Councilmember McConaughey is correct, that it doesn't need to be voted on the same night, okay? Councilmember Haga.
Another fact about our council rules is you have to have supporting reasons to have a reconsideration. And the supporting reasons, if you read my reconsiderations, the fact that we have 2 council-elects sitting, one of them sitting on the audience. I don't know what the other one is, but that should have the opportunity to sound off on this. So the reconsideration isn't based on whether this will pass or fail. It's a matter of there's new evidence, new facts that require, I think, the voice of the people be heard, and that would be the only way that can happen. We already know where the council members that are leaving are going to vote on it, so therefore, can we wait until the other two come? It might pass, who knows? But let them vote, let them exercise their right as representatives of my district, and I forgot the other district, District 3 or 4, wherever been.
3.
Sound off because they were voted in. So there is a fact. When it comes to reconsideration, it's not a motion. It's a fact that we need to look at other things that pertain to this item, and that is having the voice of the people who this tax or this fee is going to affect be heard, and that's by the elected council-elect members. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Rice.
I'm a little bit taken aback at some of the discussion tonight. Discussing two sitting council members as if they don't matter, okay? We have council members elect, yes, but we have two council members who have studied this, who have spent time on this, who understand this, and their experience and their votes are important. Councilmember Haga. Was that for me?
No.
I would appreciate if we could talk about the two council members as if their experience matters. Thank you.
Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. One thing I did not add was the original Robert's Rules. We work under the revised only in such, obviously, that we revise it to our liking, which we've done. But the Robert Rules, they express that it's the same day. And I believe that's the heart of the matter. I think our rules were designed after that. I think in the past practice, we incorporated it incorrectly. I'm just restating it. I believe that either we should have had a vote on it the same day, or we shouldn't be reconsidering it at all for this or even future matters, whether it's this topic or another. That's me, and that's just my stance. I'll be voting accordingly.
We'll have no more further comment. We've had a legal opinion from our city attorney on the legal aspects of what happens. Councilmember Southworth.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two quick comments. I have to concur with what Councilmember Rice said. I think I've spent 8 years on the council. Councilman Hanson, Councilwoman Hanson has 4 years, and last 2 years have been of high priority when parks. For all of us, it has been out of our council goals. We spent a lot of time working on it. A lot of thought went into it, a lot of legwork. We've visited sites throughout the city. We've spent a lot of time. And I appreciate the respect of the ability to finish this out. Thank you. The other thing, I think Councilman McConaughey mentioned, it feels like gamesmanship, and he's right. The fact that we even have the reconsideration on the council agenda on the 13th was pure gamesmanship. We had a council member who had spoken to me 2 weeks prior to that vote on multiple occasions, mentioning that he was in for this, and then changed his mind, and that's okay. That's what you do. Changed his mind, and then voted for it so he could turn around and put it on an agenda. And so, that's just the way the rules are written, and that's not gamesmanship. That's just knowing the rules and using them the way you see fit. But I appreciate the opportunity to have this say here. Still a council member, not a council member elect. Those still the council member, and so is Councilwoman Hanson. Those council members elect will have an opportunity. What we do tonight does not bind the next council or the council after that or the council after that. They'll have an opportunity for their say. They can change anything they want. They can keep it, change it, rearrange it, whatever they want. So this is no disrespect to them. Thank you.
I just have a statement and then we'll vote. Just to be clear for the record, for those listening, 100% of the entire council is supportive of the parks and adding money to the parks. The difference is whether it be through a fee that takes a long time to ramp up or an immediate fix that would start the next day. So I wanted to be clear on that because many of us have worked just as hard as anyone else on the council on these issues. And no one is against the parks on this. I don't want to make this about for or against because everyone is in favor of the parks and fixing the problem. It's just a philosophy item. And I just wondered, I'm just nervous that the second to the last issue that two of our council members on this particular council will be leaving us after this vote. Their second to the last issue is to raise the tax on the public. I feel bad for them. Councilmember Hanson, last comment.
Thank you, Mayor. I feel bad that after serving for 4 years, my vote doesn't seem to be important. I have not missed a meeting. I have been here at every meeting. And I am being dismissed. It is as if I don't have a voice any longer. I believe I have a voice until the 31st day of December. I will feel very, very disappointed if this next council does not do something to help our parks and do something big. You yourself, Mayor, have said we don't show well. And this is the reason, one of them, we do not show well. And if we want to show well and we want economic development, we need to make a change, and it needs to be a big change. And I'm sorry, nobody wants to hear it, but if you want to make money, you've got to spend money. And we've got to spend money on our parks, our trails, and our open space to look well. Again, I'm sorry that after serving for 4 years, my voice is not considered important. Thank you.
Let's vote.
And this motion is to reconsider, correct?
It's just to reconsider.
Councilmember Southworth?
No.
Councilmember McConaughey?
No.
Councilmember Hanson?
No.
Councilmember Rice?
Aye.
Councilmember Haga?
Mayor, I still need clarification on what we're voting on, to be frank with you.
To reconsider the adoption of Resolution 15217 that was taken last week.
So is this a reconsideration?
Just to rediscuss it.
Of the vote that was taken last week's council meeting.
That I wasn't in attendance of.
You were in attendance
No,
for the
you were in
vote.
attendance for the vote.
Okay, and I voted.
You were in
for
favor of it.
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
No.
Mayor Roll?
No.
Vote fails 2-5.
Thank you.
Okay, so the item will not be reconsidered, and council members' reconsideration is still in effect for January 13. Is that right? That's the way I understand it.
No.
New business can be put on the agenda for January 13th, but it can't be a reconsideration.
That is absolutely correct.
Councilmember Haga.
Council, is a reconsideration a motion? Darian, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It is?
A motion to reconsider is a motion. There are other ways to take a second or a third or a fourth look at city business items. It does not need to be a motion to reconsider in order to place it on an agenda. A motion to reconsider is made in order to use the prior debate, the prior motion, and the debate for people who've already exercised their debate with the prior motion. It's not used when there's a new motion or a new direction or new business on a similar topic.
So, I'd like, Mayor, if I can, make a motion that we ask the city manager to seek out a parliamentarian and to give us a legal opinion on our council rules versus Robert's rules, and whether my reconsideration from last council meeting is valid.
That's just direction.
I think it's a good thing to do.
Sure, just say
Councilmember Nichols.
I just have a follow-up thought with that. I did have a conversation with our city manager. I expressed this. I would encourage you to do the same, and I just encourage them that we move in that direction. That we have, there are parliamentarian courses, actual certifications, and we could use that. Whether it be our city clerk, whether it be the city attorney's office, whether it be the city manager, whether it be us. I mean, anybody in all, we could get into that. It's a smart thing to do, to know what we can and can't do.
Okay. Well, we went past 6, so now we can hold the public hearing. Public hearing item 4A, receive public input and consider for approval resolution 15-229 to declare surplus and to receive public comments prior to disposing of significant city-owned real property as followed. Approximately 6.5 acres located at approximately 7800 South and New Sycamore Drive. Approximately 9.7 acres located at 6543 and 6463 West, 7400 South. Approximately 23 acres located at 4652 West, 7800 South. Mark.
Mayor, during our discussions on item 3A, it became apparent that we have 3 pieces of property that have value, and that the projects that we're going to be working on, like a rec center, being built by our city and being called after the name of our city, that these properties would be available for sale, that we would use that money then towards that major project. And we already had interest in one particular piece, and we're having the rest evaluated. And I think we'd be able to take a giant leap forward in providing funds for the recreation center.
Questions from council? I will open the public hearing. If you're here to speak on the public hearing item 4A, now would be the time to speak. Please step forward. State your name and address for the record.
Alexandra Efremo, 3735 Judd Circle. I'm confused about declaring this surplus and then to go ahead and sell it, but yet in selling it, we're not going to have the acreage for the rec center, as I understand it. I don't know. Tonight's been a very confusing evening. Anyway, 23 acres, I mean, we're looking at a new place for the arts. We're looking for a rec center. We're looking for some other things. So I'm against selling it. I mean, why are we going to sell it if we're going to use it? Or couldn't we just use it? To me, it doesn't make sense to declare it surplus and then to go ahead and dispose of it, meaning if you're going to dispose of it, we're going to get money if it's sold. But then we still have the money we're supposed to use for a rec center, an arts center, and various other future projects. I don't know what's going on there. We don't know the amount no estimates of the amount of the sale here. So I think this isn't clear to the people of West Jordan. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Just to be clear, there's not a sale pending. This is just surplusing the property. There's no sale pending, and this has no, this is not the location of the proposed rec center, just to make sure that everyone's clear on that item. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, item 4A, and return to the council for discussion and or motion. Councilmember Southworth.
Thank you, Mayor. I have some pretty strong-held reservations about this. But let me say, surplusing this property with the intention to sell it to fund a rec center, I think is a good idea. I have no problem with that. I think that's a wise use of these properties. Where I have a problem and where I get very, very concerned is we are surplusing now with the intent to sell when we don't have a full plan in place. We have rough estimates on costs of what a rec center would cost us, but we don't know. I haven't seen anything on the programming, how many people we have to hire, what it's going to cost, what the long-term maintenance is. The maintenance year 1, year 5, year 10, year 15, I don't know what that's going to be. And I have immense, since the time that we told the county thanks but no thanks, and we pulled out and said we're going to do this alone, in my mind that killed any chance of a rec center in West Jordan, Utah. I don't see us going to the citizens of West Jordan and asking for a $50 million bond and them saying yes. Now maybe we can get some funding sources here or there and we get it down to 40, 45, I don't know what the numbers end up being, but they're not going to say yes. I so hope that we can get this done. But I'm very, very skeptical. And I don't want to surplus and sell property and have it put into, even if you say we're going to put it into we'll have a line item right on our budget. It goes in the general fund, but it'll be earmarked for a rec center. There'll be 7 politicians and a city administration if this rec center doesn't happen, all looking at that, itching to do something with it. And there'll be 15 different really, really good ideas that will come up. And they'll say, oh, if we only had money to do this. And look, and we can move this money over. It's happened before and it will happen again. So if a rec center is going to be built and we've done our due diligence and we know what all those costs are and it's imminent and it's right on the horizon, yeah, surplus it then, sell these properties and build that thing. But until then, there's just too much risk to put these properties at, and I will just not in support of doing this at this time. Thank you.
Councilmember Haga.
Thanks, Mayor. I just want to echo what the mayor said. You know what, I kind of went into this a little more because I was concerned. This is city-owned property. And we are surplusing it. And I don't know if any of us can even disclose why, because it's a confidentiality thing at this point. However, you know, in my opinion, because I've studied it out and everything, this is property that if we surplus will benefit the residents of West Jordan. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Wright.
I'm okay with surplusing property. My concern is how far down the track are we toward the rec center already? Are we? If we do this, are we locked into a rec center as opposed to an arts facility, as opposed to some other use for the money that could be more pressing? You know, West Jordan already has a rec center. We don't have an arts facility. So I'm okay with surplusing the property, but I'm not totally on board with rec center. Thanks.
Yes, just to be clear again for the record, we are not selling any property. This has nothing to do with any property, and the members of the council know the magnitude and the reason that this is being brought forth tonight and why it's being done tonight. that really don't have anything to do with the rec center at this point in time. Let's vote.
Oh, I don't think we had a motion.
Oh,
Did we?
sorry. Yes, we need a motion, sorry. Councilmember Haga.
I move we approve resolution 15229.
Second. I have a motion by Councilmember Haga and a second by Mayor Roll. Discussion of the motion. Let's vote.
Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
Mayor Roth?
Yes.
Councilmember Southworth?
No.
Councilmember McConaughey?
No.
Councilmember Haga?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
No.
Councilmember Rice?
No.
Vote fails 3-4.
Okay, I have one direction, City Clerk, I would like a item added to the January 27th meeting, discussion and possible action to rescind Resolution 15-231. And I'll give you the data based on it doesn't do anything for our parks in the next calendar year for $1.91, or $1.90 per household and business.
Mayor?
Councilmember Southworth.
Look, I don't agree with that, and I don't really want to help out in that regard, but you said 15231?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You probably want to, yeah,
I
that's
meant
not right.
I meant, read the wrong one.
Okay.
I meant 217, to be clear.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Do you have a comment?
I move to adjourn.
Thank you, Mayor, for the floor. I guess as witnessed, I guess I would speak to you, Mayor, as witnessed, for whatever reason, you and I have had a hard time communicating. But the interesting point, and I think you made a good point earlier about how there is a consensus on this, in this city, on this council, within its citizenry, within its staff, that our open space, that our urban forestry, our weed abatement, and our parks all need help. And we have different ways to get it. And I think that is what you saw tonight, the oil and water, whatever you want to call it. When the mayor and I speak, for whatever reason, we are usually pretty close on what we want to get done. We just differ on how we do it. And for me, that'll be a regrettable item that I will leave with, that we're never able to find a way to get across that. It's something that we both talked to each other about and have wanted to overcome, but we haven't, and that'll be regrettable. But we always wanted to get the same thing. We just have different ways of doing it, and I appreciate the passion for the city, and that goes to everybody on this council and the staff and the citizenry. And just wanted to leave on a better note and put that out there and say thank you to everybody.
Move to adjourn, Mayor.
No, that's Councilmember Nichols. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take an opportunity briefly as we come to a close of another council. There are two individuals who we will not work with on this dais as a council body, Councilmember Southworth, Councilmember Hanson. I consider you dear friends, and I am grateful for your 8 years and 4 years of service on the council, respectively. It's been an experience in which I have learned a lot from each of you. I appreciate you bearing with me as I stumble along, as I still continue to do. And also thank you, Councilmember Hanson, for putting your hand out there to serve us longer, for a little bit longer on the commission. You will serve us well in that capacity. We look forward to reviewing your minutes from those meetings and seeing the decisions that you make. Thanks, Steve-O, and wish you both the best. Thank you, Mayor.
Move to adjourn, Mayor.
Second. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.